Imagine this. You wake up in your big mansion, a world of polished marble floors and glass windows that reflect a life of success, but inside, you're tired, bitter, and exhausted from carrying the weight of a company that everyone thinks defines you. Now picture this, you're a grumpy CEO millionaire, used to shutting people out, used to walking with your head down to avoid conversations. But one morning, as you step outside with your coffee in hand, a small voice cuts through your silence. Will you walk me to school? The voice belongs to a little girl from next door. She's no more than 7, her backpack is bigger than her tiny frame, and her eyes hold a kind of innocence you've long forgotten existed. At first, you scoff. You're not the type to play caretaker. You've built an empire, not babysat children. But she looks up at you, waiting, her shoelaces untied and hair slightly messy, and for reasons you can't explain, you don't walk away. This is where it begins. You say something gruff, like, "Don't you have parents for that?" She lowers her eyes and whispers, "Mom's sick. Dad's gone." It lands in your chest heavier than any stock market crash you've endured. You look around the empty street. Nobody else is there. Just her. And you. Against your better judgment, you nod once. Fine. Just today. She beams, grabs your hand, and for the first time in years, you feel something stir inside you. The walk to school is short, but it feels like a journey through time. She skips, points out flowers on the sidewalk, tells you about her favorite teacher, and even asks if you like ice cream. You, the man whose life revolves around deadlines and board meetings, find yourself muttering answers and trying to hide a smile. At the school gate, she waves goodbye as if you're the most important person in the world. You walk back, strangely lighter, but you convince yourself it was a one-time thing, but the next morning, she's there again. Waiting. Will you walk me to school? She asks, like it's the most natural thing in the world. And again, you say yes. Days turn into weeks. Every morning, she waits with her oversized backpack and untied shoelaces, and every morning, you walk her. She starts talking about her dreams, wanting to be a teacher, wanting her mom to get better, wanting to one day live in a house with a big garden. You listen. You, who never listens. Slowly, the icy walls you've built around yourself begin to crack. But life isn't kind forever. One day, you see her waiting with red eyes. They made fun of me at school, she says quietly, because my shoes are old. You glance down and notice the holes in them. Something inside you burns. That evening, instead of attending a meeting with investors, you find yourself in a children's store, confused by the rows of colorful shoes. You buy her a pair that sparkles when she walks, pretending you just had an extra lying around. She hugs you tightly, and that's when you realize, you don't just walk her to school anymore. You walk her through life, step by step. Then, the day comes when her mom's condition worsens. The little girl doesn't wait outside. You knock on their door, heart racing, and find her holding her mother's frail hand. The hospital bills are too high, she explains with trembling lips. Something inside you shifts completely. You've spent millions on luxury cars, vacations, and parties that meant nothing. For the first time, you put your money where it matters. Quietly, without ever bragging, you make sure her mother gets the treatment she needs. You don't do it for recognition. You do it because you care. Months later, the girl's mom begins to recover. The little girl hugs you with tears streaming down her face. You're like family, she whispers. And that's when it hits you, the grumpy CEO millionaire, the man who thought he had everything, realize you were the loneliest person in the world until a child asked you to walk her to school. By the end, it's not her who needed walking. It was you. She walked you back to life, back to humanity, back to the version of yourself that could feel, love, and hope again. So if this story touched your heart, take a moment, like, share, and subscribe. Because sometimes, the smallest voices teach us the biggest lessons. And maybe, just maybe, all it takes is one simple question: will you walk me to school? To change a life forever, the next few weeks turn into a rhythm that feels almost sacred. Every morning, this man who used to live by a strict clock of board meetings and shareholder calls, find yourself adjusting your schedule around one little girl's walk to school. Your driver is confused. Your secretary keeps calling to remind you of early appointments. But you don't miss it. Somehow, holding her tiny hand and listening to her chatter about school projects becomes more important than signing million-dollar deals. One morning, as you step out, she's not waiting. The sidewalk feels emptier than you ever imagined. You hesitate, heart tightening, until you notice her sitting on the curb, hugging her knees. Her eyes are swollen. She doesn't speak right away. Finally, she whispers, "Some kid said I don't have a real family." The words stab deeper than you expect. You remember your own childhood, always left with nannies while your parents chased their empires. You kneel, awkwardly at first, and say, "A family is